Hey everybody, how's it going? So today we have a tool haul from Home Depot. It's actually a exchange, so please stick around, check out the video, and I'll see you guys there. Thank you for watching. Hey everybody, welcome to today's video. So I picked this up at Home Depot. I already owned it. What happened is I'd mentioned on another video I was having some issues with it. I spoke to a buddy of mine, Jason Reynolds, and a couple other people, and I was just suggested to go take it back since I only bought it like January 1st of 2020, and I was having a bunch of issues with it. And the weird thing is that the orbital, the physical disc would stop spinning if you put too much pressure on it. If you didn't, it wasn't much pressure at all. It was like barely touching it against something. It would stop. It would still like oscillate, but the physical pad would not turn. And it feels like it was just the backing plate was rubbing against it too hard, and it was causing it not to turn. So it was causing, like when I was doing drywall with it, it was causing the physical circles, in certain spots, because I had to use the corner of the round section on the pad to get it to physically sand, and it was just sanding specifically a moon shape on one spot where I was moving the tool. And I'll open the box and I'll show it to you. It's not going to be like a huge unboxing or anything like that. Pop the tape off of it, pull it out the box, and this is item number 2648-20. It's just a bare tool. These are all the attachments and adapters in that box. There. If it happens again, I actually I went to one Home Depot and replaced it, and literally went to another Home Depot and replaced the one that they gave me. But what I mean is that this pad right here, it's supposed to turn and it's supposed to orbit. And the problem is it feels like this rubber sleeve right here, there's little feet on the bottom of this rubber sleeve that sits on this pad. And let me get you know what, I'll show you real quick first. I'll put the battery on it. This is just a 5 amp hour XC battery. So turn it on. You should be able to see how this plate is turning, but if you put a tiny amount of force, it's still turning. If I turn it up, it's not moving at all. So if it's on high speed and I put my finger on the side, it actually forces it to rotate. And if it's on low speed, it rotates, but when you put pressure down, it doesn't move very well. And I'll show you what I mean. So it may be just a manufacturing thing, But what I was having to do before I pull the bolts out is I'm holding it like this, and what I was having to do on high is I was having to push just this spot right here on the wall. So it was basically, it would rotate and then it would shave right here, and then it would rotate and then it would shave, and it would rotate and then it would finally shave. So the whole pad wasn't touching, it was just this spot up here, which was causing moon-shaped divots. And the only way to remove a large amount of material real quick was to use this section right here only, because when I put it flat on the surface, this pad would stop spinning, and it wasn't doing me any good. I have no idea what size it was. I didn't know it was a Torx. I think it was a T15 or T25. It's a T25. And this is the new one. Okay, if you remove the pad, yeah, the pad's got grease on it. It's got blue grease. Okay, so you see these little wings? I think the problem is these wings are rubbing on the back of this pad slightly too hard, which is causing it not to turn. So if Milwaukee, if you guys are seeing this, I would definitely appreciate you guys looking into this problem, because it makes it hard to physically function. It makes it hard to actually use the tool when the tool doesn't want to work, because it's sliding on those rubber pads. And I think these little rubber feet are to actually clean this pad from debris. I have no idea where the other screw went. So I think that's the problem. I think is the problem is necessarily the fact that it rubs oddly for whatever reason. You know, I can understand if it's supposed to rub to, you know, clear the back of the pad so it doesn't. One ugga-dugga is all I'm doing on this. Oops, that was a little more. Pull that one back up. One ugga-dugga. So, but if the screws are tight, you can feel that it rotates. No problem. But maybe they just all have that issue. That's what I'm thinking. Because the plate that these 4 bolts are on, that plate is actually offset. So it's a round plate and it's offset to the side. So it physically makes this disc oscillate. And then the pad is also supposed to spin. which is where you get the orbital. It's actually a oscillating and orbital action on this. But you know, just a quick video. You know, I just replaced it. You know, this one seems to be better than the one I got, the first one I got today. Because the first one I got today, this rubber outer piece was actually bent all the way down on one side. It didn't look right. But you know, if anybody else has this issue, let me know. Leave it in the comments. You know, are you guys having an issue where the oscillation works fine, but the physical turning, the orbital turning of the disc isn't working right? Or do you notice that it gets clogged with whatever you're sanding quite harshly because of the fact that this tends to slow down on turning when you put any kind of pressure on it? For whatever reason, when the tool's on high, you have to put side pressure to get this to turn. But when the tool's on low, it slightly turns by itself. But the problem with it on low and it's slightly turning by itself is the slightest touch with your own finger, let alone a piece of wood or drywall, automatically stops it from turning. You know, let me know if you guys have had the same problem. You know, if Milwaukee sees this video, please address this issue, guys. It's a common problem, and it doesn't make any sense of why it's such an issue. But it's just a replacement tool. There is one thing I would like to talk about real quick before I end the video, though. And I cleaned all of this before I put it back in the box and returned it. But the one thing I would like to talk about that irritates me in a tiny sense is how tight some of these accessories are to get off and on. Like this one, if you have the actual hose hooked up, this piece falls off all the time. Like, especially if it's a big hose. If it's a 2 3/4 or 2.5 inch hose, whatever fits in this bigger piece. If it's one of those hoses, this piece connected, I'll get this to slide in. You know, these pieces are so tight. Is there another piece missing? Like, I very rarely use this tool, to be honest with you, the actual dust cup, because of the fact that it's so hard to get the dust cup lid off. And the other model I had, the older model, it had 2 pieces. 2 of these clear pieces it had. Oh, this one's just connected. Okay. This piece right here was separate from this piece. And I noticed, for whatever reason, a lot of the time, these 2 clearish pieces will separate. So the piece that goes on this, which is this long end, will stay on here because the little hook on the inside, that little red hook, will physically hook to this clear piece so hard that this other clear end that goes into the vac attachment will physically pop off. So I constantly have an issue with this popping off, which is annoying, you know. But and the fit is so tight. So when this pops off of this piece and it's stuck on here, it's dang near impossible to get it off of here if you want to use this. Which is why I don't use this very often, because it's a pain to get it off. But oh, what was the other thing I wanted to mention? I use the 3.0 high output on this the most because these are kind of bulky. They make it kind of heavy. Where the 3.0 high output physically makes it a lighter, but also, you know, I understand it's a little longer. But these two batteries, this one is quite a bit lighter than this one, and this one has 21700 cells, where this one has 18650s, but this one has a lot of 18650s. So I use it like this a lot because it just makes it easier to balance. I'm trying to think of what the other thing I wanted to mention was. I know there was something else I wanted to mention. One thing that frustrates me is that when you return or exchange a tool at Home Depot, you know, most places when you take a tool back or something, an item back, and exchange it, you get a receipt stating it was exchanged. And what irritates me about Home Depot, I very rarely exchange or replace a bad item or anything from Home Depot. And something that irritates the crap out of me is I grabbed this, I brought mine in to the closest Home Depot I have, exchanged one that they had, got it out to my vehicle because I had one of these in my truck, and opened the box, tested it, and it was like stuck. It wouldn't turn. This would not turn at all. It was just oscillating. It was stuck. So I'm like, you know what, I'm looking for another item. I'll go to a different Home Depot, exchange it there. So I get to the second Home Depot, I exchange the exchange, and I get this one. Now, both times, I didn't get a receipt to walk out the door with. I didn't get a receipt that said, you know, item exchanged. You know, so I asked, I said, well, that doesn't seem, you know, really smart. You know, I'm going to be walking out with a box, not in a bag, and, you know, somebody's going to stop me out the door trying to state that I stole the tool. And, you know, they're like, well, just use your original receipt. And the weird thing is usually when you exchange an item, like even if you go to Walmart and you exchange an item, the exchange receipt states the new date that the item was exchanged. So on some items at like Walmart or Target and some other places, if you exchange an item, the warranty starts over, depending on the item. And I remember back in the day, Home Depot used to do that. They would, when you went in and exchanged an item, they would give you a printed out, if you had your original receipt, and then they would staple the returned and or exchanged receipt to your old receipt, and they'd have two different dates. So if you came in and exchanged the tool 6 months after you bought it, like I did today, it's almost 6 months from when I bought it, which would be the beginning of next month, then you had a receipt for both, the original date you bought it and then the exchange date. And on some items, like certain Milwaukee tools and certain, you know, other brand tools, back in the day when you got that exchange receipt, the warranty would start over. And to me, it's not necessarily about the warranty starting over. It's more or less that I walk into the store with a tool in a box, because I took the box and everything back. I repackaged it in the box and everything on my original one. I walk into the store. You know, it's not like they give you a sticker that you put on the box like Walmart or whatever it is, you know, an exchange sticker or whatever, customer service sticker. So I walk in, I walk up to the customer service area. They take the old tool. I asked my wife to go grab another version of the same tool, and she walks back up. He prints out a big, huge white and green sticker and slaps it on the defective box, and then just hands me the box and says I'm free to go. And I got stopped at one of the stores because they're like, well, the cops will be waiting outside for you. And I don't know if they were joking, but to me it wasn't a joke. It's not funny. You know, I exchanged an item. I didn't steal the item. When somebody tells you that, you know, the cops, an employee of Home Depot tells you that the cops will be waiting for you outside, that worries you, especially when you are on video walking up to the customer service and exchanging the item. But you know, if anybody agrees with me, leave comments down below. How many times have any of you guys gone to Home Depot? You walked in the entrance and bought something at customer service because they were the closest register, and decided to walk all the way to the other side of the store to go out that exit, because some of the stores force you to go in through one entrance and out through the other, you know, the exit on the other side of the store. Have anybody ever had that issue where you walked in, bought something at customer service, walked all to the other end of the store, walked out, and got stopped for stealing, when in reality you actually paid for it? And you're bombarded. Like, they see the item in a bag, but they still bombard you for the receipt. You know, and that just irritates me. I do not agree. And if Home Depot sees this video, you guys need to fix that, because customers should not be bombarded with threats or, you know, being arrested or being, you know, the cops being called for theft when the item was exchanged. You know, it's not my fault that customer service is required to exchange the item, and customer service doesn't inform the cash registers at the other end of the store, you know, the normal registers. It's not my fault they don't inform them. I should not be held accountable for stealing when I didn't steal anything. I just exchanged the tool I bought for another version of that tool. Because they asked me, do you want to get your money back or do you want to exchange it? I said, I just want to exchange it. I just having an issue with this tool, specifically doing this. And one of the customer service reps, and even one of the Home Depot reps that work in the tool section, told me that he's seen a couple of these specific sanders come back for the exact same complaint. But let me know down below, do you think it's appropriate? Do you think that there should be an exchange receipt given if an exchange is done, so that way you can show anybody near the door you're exiting that you physically have a receipt for the item? Because half the time when you exchange an item, they do not put the tool or the box in a bag. They just hand it to you and let you walk out. So, you know, that's my little frustration. You know, I didn't mean to really rant, but I appreciate your guys' time. You know, let me know if you like this. I was thinking of doing another DeWalt Flex Volt video, like a teardown video, opening the battery up, explaining how the circuitry works. You know, if you guys would like to see like an actual teardown with, you know, papers, where all the cells are, where the wires go, you know, if the battery is in series or if it's in parallel or if it's in both series and parallel, you know, if you would like to know what switch on the battery forces the 60 volt, you know, from the 20 volt, how the voltage regulation works, so let me know down in the comments. Appreciate you guys' time. Please like, comment, subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon for future updates. And go check out my Amazon affiliate links. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.